That's why I'm so sick of these bitches. How many times you around, you won't think something is lying. You won't think something is lying. I don't understand how you gonna be naked. I don't understand what you want. Next time I wake up, you just look me wrong.
All of the blacks for Trump. All of the veterans for Trump. All of the driving around in a Cybertruck, Tesla, whatever the case may be. You know, there's people out here laughing at you right now. Who that man is was on full display on the first go round. Now listen, there's a lot of people that says, look, I don't care about none of that shit, you know what I'm saying? Trump gonna help us to get money. Well, y'all see the economy, you see the stock market, you see what's going on, you see all of this unprecedented amount of power and access he's given to a man named Elon Musk.
Isn't this the same guy, Tyrese Gibson, sweet lady, complaining about child support? The very same laws that the Democrats put in place to hold black men accountable, you was complaining about. The very same corrupt system you was complaining about. One thing I gotta say about Donald Trump, he takes care of his kids. He takes care of all of his children mothers. All of his children mothers. He's not complaining and whining and crying like a little baby over 10 grand a month. I gotta pay 10 grand a month. Why? Because you tricked on a woman. And you got used and abused. So you want to leave your children mothers broke. You want to leave your children mother broke as revenge. We all know it. We all know it, Tyrese. You's a sucker for these women, and you's a sucker for the Democrat Party. Because we voted for President Trump. President Trump is doing right by the American people. All this inflation garbage was here before Trump got in. Was here before Trump got in. Everything that's happening is all the impact of the Biden-Harris administration. And you know that. I don't know what's your game here, but we don't need you. We don't need you. 78 million people voted for President Trump. Remember that. 78 million people voted.
Anyway, so I'm watching Rachel Maddow, and oh my God, they had all these interviews of these Trump voters, of course, in Michigan that were so shocked to tell you, and just miserable over what to do right now. The fuck? Well, he's acting like a dictator. He said he wanted to be a dictator. Like, what's the big mystery? Well, I thought he was going to do more with the economy, and why are we fighting with Canada? I didn't understand. And then other people, well, he said he would, but I just really didn't believe he'd do these things. You, the idiots. Again, my patience for maggoteers is pretty much zero. You motherfucker. And then the shocking thing is I'm watching all these voters that they're interviewing in Michigan. There's all these black people that voted for Trump. He hates you. He hates you. He's always hated you. The racist. How do you vote for a fucking racist as a black person? How do you vote for Mr. Deportation as a Latino person? Oh my God. Again, I'm sorry. You put us all in hell. Social Security's going down the toilet because they're going through with all their fucking plans on that. Everything's going to shit, and he's kissing Putin's ass, and you people, yeah, I didn't think you really did that. Again, listen, maggots. We don't feel... By the way, that's the color I want to paint my room. That's why I always have this blob there. Sorry. He kept saying he wanted to be a dictator. He's going to have more deportations than anyone else. Blah, 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 blah. Now you're like, well, I didn't know he was going to attack Greenland and Panama and Canada. And this one woman complained, he's just so erratic. Hello? Yeah, and one of the guys asked him, it's like, well, you saw him, the first time around, you didn't expect he might be doing it. He said, well, he didn't seem that bad the first time. He tried to overthrow the government, you dumbass! And then this one woman, it's almost they can't watch the news. Well, obviously he didn't previously. He didn't know what a fucking lying piece of shit he was. Or, all for this economic boon that you wanted to have, you just throw every person under the fucking bus, including yourself. And now, it's really expensive. Oh, these tariffs, blah, blah, blah. He kept saying he'd put tariffs in. You just believed his stupid idea that tariffs would fucking help you. Well, it's the tariffs. He said that was his number one plan. And you all voted for it. I'm sorry. Magateers, boo.
As more Americans begin to feel the consequences of policies they once supported, the ripple effects of recent decisions by former President Trump and prominent figures like Elon Musk are becoming clear. From funding cuts to rising costs, legal battles, and shifting economic power, the fallout is undeniable. Whether through reduced federal employee hours, increased electric bills, or controversial deportation orders, these actions have consequences that cannot be ignored. With race, economic power, and business decisions at play, staying informed has never been more critical.
I'm seeing a lot of Republicans coming on here saying that they regret their vote. Well, you can keep all that because the damage is already being done. You knew exactly what the fuck this man was going to do because he was saying that out on the campaign trail. So don't come on here and say, oh, you didn't know he was going to do these things. Yes, the fuck you did. Because what he said he was going to do, he's fucking doing it. Tell that to the people that's losing their job that you regret your vote. Tell that to the veterans that's losing their jobs that you regret your vote. Tell that to the people that's losing health care that you regret your vote. Tell the people that can't feed their families that you regret your vote. If that makes you sleep better at night, coming on here with your little fake ass tears and saying that you regret your vote and you think that that's going to change public opinion about you stupid motherfuckers, no, it's not. It's not going to change anything because everything that he's doing is because you went out and you voted for him and you put him in office. Simple as that. So don't look for no sympathy from me because I have none for you. You didn't give a damn. You just thought that he was going to hurt black and brown people and you thought that you were in the clear. And you're only coming on here with your fake ass tears because you thought you had white privilege. You thought your white privilege was going to save you. Trump don't give a fuck about you and nobody fucking else. All he cares about for the next 4 years is filling his fucking pocket with money and he don't give a fuck about you. So you played yourself at the end of the day. So save your fucking tears because we don't want to see them.
So I'm not really sure how I made it over to the white men crying on video about their finances side of TikTok. But I was over there for a little bit. And at first I was like laughing because it's like FAFO, right? Because like y'all voted for this and now it's affecting you. But then I started to think like these are normally the people that and so to see them online in this much disarray where they're on video crying in full tears about their finances and how mad they are. Y'all be safe out here.
To all you people out there posting about, I hope you happy if you voted for Trump, blah, 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 blah. We are. Praise the Lord God Almighty. Hallelujah. We are.
I'm terrified of Donald Trump, and you should be too. You have allowed your intelligence to be co-opted by anger and hatred. This is what demagogues do. When you are angry, when you are upset, you lose the ability to think. Or you think a lot, but you're not thinking critically. You did not elect Donald Trump to do any of this. You did not elect Donald Trump to go to war with Canada. I want you to think about that. You did not elect Donald Trump to let the January 6th rioters out of prison, the insurrectionists who beat and tased police officers. You did not vote for that. Okay, you didn't. And you didn't vote for Project 2025 either. Trump said over and over and over again during the course of the campaign that he wasn't going to do Project 2025. And here we are. And you didn't vote for Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire, We need your help, and you know what you have to do.
Aaron Parnas is just reporting that Elon Musk has caused a senior official who has worked for the U.S. Treasury for decades to resign because Elon Musk is trying to access the U.S. Treasury Department system. That system pays out Social Security, Medicare. It pays for everything in the United States. What is a civilian doing trying to get access to the most sensitive U.S. Treasury Department system? Where is the senators? Where is the congressmen? Where is the outrage? Where is the news media? When did a civilian that has no clearance whatsoever, getting access to our U.S. sensitive Treasury system? I told you, people. I told you they want to rob the U.S. Treasury. I told you that's what they were after. The $2 trillion in the Social Security Trust Fund. While he stands up there, Trump, that orange baboon, and tries to distract you with DEI, his little minions like the billionaires are going to rob us blind. You tell me what a goddamn South African wants to get access to our most sensitive U.S. Treasury information? Are you fucking kidding me? Do not get distracted, people. You don't get your Social Security check. It's Elon Musk messing around with our U.S. Treasury.
You may see lots of posts going around today, like this one from Trump's White House press secretary, about a plane full of members of a Venezuelan group that Trump deported. A judge tried to stop Trump from deporting those people, and Trump defied the order and deported them anyways. Here's Trump's White House press secretary's statement on it. She said that the order to stop the deportation had no lawful basis, and it was issued after they had already been removed from U.S. territory. And if you've seen these posts before, you know exactly where I'm going. This information is incorrect. And if you want to learn how to spot this type of false information posted by people like this and find the correct information for yourself, follow along. So first things first, this post, same as this one from JD Vance, are referencing this Axios article. So I'm going to go directly to the article. If we look at that article, we see these details. So on Friday, Trump signed an executive order invoking the Alien Enemies Act. And on Saturday, a judge said that any flights that were deporting individuals under this act needed to be halted. Even if they were midair, they needed to be turned around immediately. But those flights were not turned around. Trump officials continue to have the flights land in Venezuela, defying this court order. So now I want to briefly look at the executive order that Trump used to invoke this and what it means. In it, he describes members of this specific Venezuelan group, and he says that under this Alien Enemies Act, he has the authority to immediately apprehend and remove these people without any kind of trial. So let's see if that's true. I Googled the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 full text so I could actually read the bill myself. I apologize, it's very small, but it very clearly says that this act, which like Trump said, allows you to deport people without any kind of trial, is dependent on the Senate and the House of Representatives declaring a war between the United States and a foreign nation, or declaring an invasion or predatory incursion by a foreign enemy. And the President of the United States shall make a public proclamation. So only one of these two things happened. Trump made a public proclamation, but Congress did not declare any kind of invasion or war. So the argument the judge is making is that Trump doesn't have the authority to do this, and let's put a pause on this. He asked them to bring back the flights, put a pause on this for 14 days while they figured out if Trump was even able to do this in the first place. Noting that once the flights landed in Venezuela, they no longer had jurisdiction over it, so they needed to turn the flights around midair. Which brings us back to the White House press secretary's statement. She said that they had already been removed from U.S. territory, so they weren't able to turn the planes around. And that's a sentiment that is being repeated over and over and over again. People are like, it was in over international waters, so we didn't have any jurisdiction to turn the flights around. But whoops, that's not true either. I searched when does U.S. jurisdiction end for flights, and I'm going to click this Department of Justice. And we see that an aircraft is in the jurisdiction of the United States while the aircraft is in flight, so long as it departed from or is scheduled to land in the United States. And that it counts as in flight from the moment when the doors close before it leaves until the moment when the doors open when it lands. So the United States had jurisdiction over that flight from the moment it took off until the people got off of the flight in Venezuela. So by U.S. law, it does not matter that the flight had already taken off. The United States still had jurisdiction to turn it back around. So she is saying the president had authority under the Alien Enemies Act to do this. He didn't. And that they couldn't do anything about it because the flight had already taken off. They could. So instead, they're just wrapping it in this same narrative, which I've talked about on here multiple times, that the judge didn't have the authority to make that order to begin with. But we know that that judge did have authority to tell Trump to turn those planes around because the Constitution tells us so. The Constitution established the Supreme Court and allowed Congress to establish the lower courts, and they did so. And lower courts have just as much jurisdiction over the President of the United States as the Supreme Court does. This is the general structure of our federal court system, and it is completely separate from the executive branch, which is what the president is in charge of. So the judge's order did have a lawful basis. It doesn't matter that the flights had already taken off, and it doesn't seem like Trump had authority to deport these people to begin with. And even if he did, the judge was simply saying, turn the flights around, and we need to figure this all out before you're just making these types of unilateral decisions. So are Democrats fighting to keep criminals and these types of people in our country, or are Democrats fighting to make sure the Constitution of the United States is followed? And to answer this, as always, do your own research and say no to clickbait.
You know, like this whole Trump trying to bring back segregation in segregated areas. They will ask Target. Tajay will tell you all. You motherfuckers want to mess with us. You will ask Target. You will also ask Walmart on Black Friday. You know, the new Negro. This breed here of the 21st century is 100 times different from the slaves that were taken from Africa. These ones have gone to school. They are empowered. They are strong. They are motherfucking smart and very talented. You want to segregate us? Yeah, we will carry every motherfucking thing. We'll take the NBA. We'll take everything. You want to see Noah Lyles for Olympics? No, he's not running on the white side. He will be on the... Yeah, we might actually have the real black... The Republic of Black America. Y'all are fucking messing with what you don't even know. Companies are on their knees. Target is on its knee. Walmart also took a deep dive. Financial cuts. Walmart saw a decrease, I think it was 10%. There was a time the stocks were really down. And y'all want to bring segregation? You know what? I look forward to that because at least we'll have clean bathrooms. Yeah. I said that, yeah. But anyway, I'm just, trying to reiterate that the new Negroes are so different from the slaves. Yeah, you want to try that shit? Bring it on. Bring it on. Knowing so well that we motherfucking spend more than every demographic in this country. Bring that shit on.